Hello everybody and welcome to my channel, Jesus and Coffee Conversations. Thank you for joining me today. Y'all, I'm in a good mood, okay? So last Saturday, I could not come on here and do a video for you guys because my allergies are extremely disrespectful right now, okay? So, and I'm still like dealing with them. So if I sound like congested or anything, y'all, it's the pollen outside, okay? Spring, like I like spring, but I do not like the pollen. So I could not get on here last week to talk to y'all because my throat was sore. Like I was extremely tired. Like it was just a whole bunch of stuff going on. I was just like, I cannot get in front of the camera and be talking to these people looking like this and sounding like this. But yeah, so my allergies, I'm still dealing with them. If you see me like scratching or anything, y'all, it's the pollen, okay? I have been outside. I have not taken my allergy medicine yet because I do take Benadryl and that kind of, you know, that makes you drowsy. I was doing Zyrtec, but I don't know. I like Benadryl a whole lot better. So anyway, Benadryl, send me a check, okay? Anyway, y'all, so if you are just joining me, hello, welcome to the Jesus and Coffee Conversations family. Thank you for joining me, y'all. Hello to my new subscribers. I'm super excited to have you guys on here. Y'all make sure to spread the word about my channel, share my videos, and if you are just tuning in, I am focusing on women of the Bible, okay? So I'm doing a Women of the Bible study series. If you are a guy and you're watching this, you can still get some pretty helpful information if you are dating because it kind of narrows down like godly characteristics versus ungodly characteristics, okay? But I'm doing this for women and young girls so that y'all have some godly role models to look up to, and then you also have some examples of women that you do not want to be, okay? So I talked about the Proverbs 31 woman. I talked about Ruth. I talked about Jezebel. Today I'm talking about Delilah, okay? So you have not seen the previous videos that I've done. Those should be popping up for you guys to click on them to go watch them later. So today, and I talked about Lot's wife. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 so far. So the Proverbs 31 woman, Ruth, Jezebel, Lot's wife, and then today Delilah. So I've done 5 videos so far. So make sure that you go check those out when you get a chance, okay? And y'all, if I'm all over the place or anything, just bear with me. Y'all know how I do. I don't edit my videos, so you get what you get. You know how it is when I'm tired. So when I'm tired, I'm kind of all over the place. Add that in with the allergies, y'all. Your girl, I'm just okay. Anyway, so Instagram. If you're not following me, make sure you are following me. Jesus Coffee _conversations. If you are following me on Instagram, Instagram is starting to remove your notifications. So that bell, when you go to my page, make sure you are clicking on it and you're clicking all the things so that when I post, you are knowing that I'm posting, okay? Because there are some controversial things I talk about. Instagram likes to shadow ban. So just make sure you double check that bell has a little check mark on the inside of it so that you're getting everything that I am uploading on there, okay? I'm thinking about going to Rumble, and it was another on Patreon. I think I might start putting content over there just so I cannot be censored and I can say what I want to say and be free with it. So if I decide to do that, I would definitely let you all know, okay? So today, like I said, I'm talking about Delilah, and I titled this, Delilah the Destroyer, Not the Builder. So as women, we have the power to persuade, we have the power to build, we have the power to influence, okay? And God gave us this gift, and it's really important that we understand how to use it and use it properly, okay? So there's a way to use it as a godly woman, and then there's a way to use it as an ungodly woman. And Delilah, because she was an ungodly woman, her influence was basically used to destroy, okay? So if you are familiar with the story Samson and Delilah, Samson was a Israelite, he was a man of God, and he has supernatural strength. So he meets Delilah, which he should not have been entertaining because God commanded my ring light just went out, y'all, I'm sorry. So God had just commanded, there we go, y'all forgive me while I'm playing with this lighting. I don't want it super bright because of my eyes. But anyway, so Samson, he had supernatural strength, and I think I'll leave it right there. And he had a thing for Philistine women. Philistine women were not of God. So in I think like Exodus and Leviticus and all of that, where God was saying, you know, all these laws, when he was telling people not to intermarry, it wasn't, because a lot of people want to say, oh, it's because of race. God does not care if you are a white person with a black person, or a Chinese person with a black person, or an Asian with a Hawaiian or whatever. That's not what he was saying, okay? He was saying if first of all, if you're going to intermarry and intermix, you need to make sure that they are saved and they are truly serving me and living for me, okay? That was not the case with the Philistines. The Philistines had idols that they were serving. So they were not serving the true living God. And so that's why God was like, do not marry these men or these women, okay? So Samson went against that. His first wife was a Philistine. And something happened to where he basically didn't want her anymore. I can't remember the whole story. If you want to read it for yourself, it's Judges 13 is where it starts, okay? So he was married to this Philistine woman. They went through, I guess, a separation period, if that's what you want to call it. And then he had a change of heart. He was going to go back to her, but she was burned alive. I can't remember for what reason, okay? And so he went on like this killing spree where he killed, you know, like hundreds of thousands of Philistines, all right? And so his strength was supernatural. Like he could kill a lion with his bare hands. Like he could take out an entire army by himself. Like his strength was God-given. And so he meets Delilah. Now, I don't think they ever married. I think it was just like I don't know what's a relationship. Could have been a situationship, right? So he meets Delilah in chapter 16. So the first thing I'm going to talk about Delilah is she was money hungry, okay? And that's in Judges 16 verses 5 through 6. I'm going to read it, and then I'm reading from the King James translation. Again, it's Judges 16 verses 5 through 6. And it reads, and the lords of the Philistines came up unto her, who is her Delilah, and said unto her, entice him, and see wherein his great strength lieth, and by what means we may prevail against him, that we may bind him to afflict him, and we will give thee every one of us 1,100 pieces of silver. And Delilah said to Samson, tell me, I pray thee, wherein thy great strength lieth, and wherewith thou mightest be bound to afflict thee. So we see she's money hungry because they're like, look, we're going to give you 1,100 pieces of silver. I don't know what that equates to today, but back then there was a whole lot of money. Okay, so let's just say back then it might have been, I don't know, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, something like that, okay? So she was money hungry. So she was like, you know what? Okay, I will entice means seduce. So I'm going to seduce this man so I can get this money, right? That's the mentality that a lot of women have today. And when I say, and not godly women, let me be careful with that, because there are some women that call themselves godly women, but that's why I say you have to look into their characteristics, okay? Because everybody who says they're a Christian, everybody who claims to know God, everyone who says they're godly this and godly that, that's not the case, okay? So that's why I'm also doing this, so that I am breaking down godly characteristics and non-godly characteristics, because there's a lot of women that are like, oh, I'm a Proverbs 31 woman, but they in somebody's club. The Proverbs 31 woman is not in the club, okay? So she was money hungry. There's a lot of women today that are money hungry. They are after men for status. They're after men for clout. They're after men so that they don't have to work. They're after men so, you know, they are after like athletes and actors and businessmen and like all this stuff, because all they see is a bag. All right, they just want the money. So Delilah was somebody that was just like, I just want the money. Okay, I don't really care about Samson. I'm not with him because I care about him and I love him. I'm with him because y'all said y'all gonna give me this money. So whatever it is y'all need me to do, then I'm going to do that so I can get this money. Okay, and that is the mentality of a lot of women today. And this is another reason why the Holy Spirit has me doing these videos, is so that women, especially godly women, you have godly role models, okay? You have women in the Bible that you should aspire to be like, and then there are women in the Bible that you don't need to pick up those characteristics, those character traits. You don't need to be like those women. Okay, Delilah is a person that you do not want to be like. Okay, so her first thing was she was money hungry. The second thing is she was persistent. Now, being persistent is a good thing. Okay, you want to be persistent. Persistence basically means you're not taking no for an answer. You know, you're going to keep going until you get what you want. All right. Now, in her case, her persistence, she was using her persistence in an ungodly fashion. She was using her persistence, first of all, because she wanted this money. Then, second of all, because she needed to get him to tell her his secret so that she could get the money. All right. So she was extremely persistent with him. So all of that is also in verse 16. So if you keep reading down to verse 6, it says, and Delilah says to Samson, and this is chapter 16, verse 6. And Delilah says to Samson, tell me, I pray thee, wherein thy great strength lieth, and wherewith thou mightest be bound to afflict thee. And so if you keep going, you see that she's persistent. Like every single night, she's like asking him, tell me, where are you getting your strength? Tell me, where are you getting your strength? Tell me, where are you getting it? So she is persistent in that she is consistently asking him to tell her his secret of his strength. Okay, and that ties into number 3, that she's a nagger. So not only is she persistent, but she's also nagging. And if in Proverbs, I should have wrote it down, but I didn't. Proverbs talks about a woman who is a nagger, right? Men do not want women who nag. So if you are constantly as your boyfriend or your husband, like, babe, take out the trash, babe, take out the trash, take out the trash, take out the trash, take out the trash, eventually that's going to get on his nerves. Because he's like, I know the trash needs to be taken out. You already told me to take this trash out. Stop nagging me about it, right? So she was a nagger and she was persistent, okay? And Samson was getting frustrated with her, so he would tell her, like, he lies to her I think he lies to her like 3 times. And now this is the thing that gets me about Samson, because I'm like, look, if you already told this chick 3 times a lie, and you find yourself in the lie, because she, like, he was like, if you, let me see one of the lies. He was like, if you, verse 7 of 16, and Samson said unto her, excuse me, if they bind me with 7 green withs that were never dry, then shall I be weak and be as another man. So she goes and tells the Philistine men, hey, y'all get these 7 green withs, you know, tie him up, and that's gonna take away his strength. So when he wakes up from his nap, he finds that he's in that position that he told her, okay? Now, he did this like 3 times, and every time he found himself in the position that he told her. So you would think, okay, Samson, what's wrong with you? Like, why would you even think about telling her the truth? Because every time you lie to her, you find yourself in that lie. So that lets you know she's setting you up, right? It did not register in his mind. That's the power of women, I'm telling you. So she was nagging. So she was persistent and she was nagging. Then eventually it gets down to verse 15, okay, of 16. So chapter 16, verse 15. And she said unto him, how canst thou say, I love thee, when thine heart is not with me? Thou hast mocked me these 3 times, and hast not told me wherein thy great strength lieth. Verse 16. And it came to pass when she pressed him daily with her words. So she was persistent and she was nagging him, okay? And it came to pass when she pressed him daily with her words, and urged him, so that his soul was vexed unto death. So basically, she is nagging him on a daily, consistent basis, okay? So she's persistent, she's nagging. There's nothing wrong with being persistent. So if you're the kind of person where people are like, oh, you can't do this, and you're like, oh, okay, watch me do this, right? So you're persistent in that sense. That is okay. But she was persistent in the sense of she was going to get him to do the thing that God told him not to do in order to bring him down. So she was being persistent and she was nagging in a sense to bring him down, to destroy him. So this is why I say that we have a gift to where we can build our men up or we can tear our men down. Black women especially, right? And you can say that about slavery days where we have been conditioned to work against our men. And that's not how we're supposed to be. You are to be in your man's corner, right? Now, granted, does he need to be worth you being in his corner? Absolutely. I'm not saying being in the corner of a man that's not stepping up to the plate. Okay, a king needs a queen. So if you have a king, you need to step up to the plate and be a queen. If you are a queen, then the man in your life needs to step up to the plate to be a king. Okay, because we need each other. So it is okay to be persistent, but you cannot be persistent to the point where you are destroying yourself or someone else. Okay. Now, the nagging part, you do not want to be a nagger. A man doesn't want a woman that nags. Okay. So a nagger is basically, like I said, with the trash thing. If you already told him one time the trash needs to go out, you don't need to say it again. He knows the trash needs to go out. But when you're constantly like, take the trash out, take the trash out. Didn't I say you take the trash out? Go ahead and say it. Why haven't you taken the trash out yet? Take the trash out. Like when you are like that, then that is how you're not supposed to be. And it's in Proverbs where it talks about like, it's better to be on the roof than with a nagging woman inside the house. So the man would be on top of the roof than the house with you because you're nagging all the time. And you have to understand that as a man, especially a black man, they have a lot on their shoulders. Okay, there's a lot that black men have to deal with that they don't even talk about. So when they get home, they don't need you to be constantly on their case. They need you to be in their corner. They need you to be their support system, okay? She was, in a sense, kind of like that, but she also was nagging him because it says it vexed him to death, to the point that he got frustrated and he was like, look, I'm going to tell you the truth so you will shut up, okay? And that's what it goes to in verse 17, okay? So verse 17 is where he tells her where he is getting his strength. So he's trusting her at this point. Again, I ask myself, what is wrong with him? Because if somebody has lied to me 3 times and I find myself in the exact position that I told them, I am not about to tell you the truth about nothing because obviously you're trying to set me up, okay? Samson, for whatever reason, he didn't have common sense, okay? And so he tells her the truth in verse 17. And so he's trusting her. Why, I don't know. But he's trusting her with this information. So he finally tells her the truth, okay? So we see that she is she's a trust violator. So as a woman, when a man opens up to us and he's able to confide in us and he's able to trust us, we are not to tell his secrets, okay? So as a godly woman, my man should be able to talk to me, confide in me, tell me his fears, tell me his concerns, tell me his dreams and hopes and all that stuff, and trust that I am not going to go behind his back and tell someone else, or that I'm not going to go behind his back and work against him, okay? So for a man to open up, he has to feel comfortable with you. He has to trust you. So apparently he felt comfortable with her and he trusted her enough to tell her the truth. So instead of keeping that secret and building him up and supporting him and encouraging him to do what God called him to do, she takes that truth and she violates it because she does what she was paid to do. So she was paid to get his secret and give that secret over so that he could be destroyed. So this is why the Bible also says the root of evil is money is the root of evil. You have people that are motivated by money, and that money is their downfall. So Delilah was motivated by money, And that money ultimately destroyed not only Samson, but it destroyed a lot of her people. So that's the last point. She was a destroyer. In verse 23 is where it starts. So once Samson trusts her and he tells her the truth, she takes that information, she gives it to the Philistine men. They, excuse me, y'all. Whew, I'm getting congested. They take that information and they do what they said, which was he cannot cut his hair. So he sleep, his head is in her lap, and either she's shaving his head or she has somebody else doing it. But that also goes to show that he trusted her. Like, he's sleeping in her lap, trusting she's not going to bring any harm to her, any harm to him. But the whole time she's destroying him because she's shaving his head or she's having somebody else do it. Okay. So when he wakes up, his strength is gone because, his head is shaved, and they, are able to overpower him. They capture him. They poke his eyes out so that he's blind, and, all this stuff. And so in verse 23, Samson is talking to God because the Philistines are having like this big party, celebration, because they got him and all that stuff. So Samson is praying to God, and he's like, God, I know that I was disobedient to you, but if you give me this strength to tear down this building, you can take my life. So Samson, God granted him enough strength. He was between two pillars. God granted him enough strength to break those two pillars down, and he dies along with hundreds of thousands of other Philistine men. So Delilah was a destroyer because she destroyed Samson and she destroyed her own people. So reading this now, when I first read it, before I had, interpretation from the Holy Spirit and stuff, it was just like a story to me, right? But as I'm doing these Bible study series, I'm learning more about these women, okay? So Delilah, if you put yourself in her shoes, we don't know the kind of childhood she had. It could have been a childhood, like today, where young girls, they run away from home at a young age, and then they meet, like this man that's like a pimp or whatever, and it gets them into, prostitution, or it gets them into sex trafficking, or, all these different things. So we don't understand what her true motive is. She could have been in that kind of situation. We don't know, right? So it's easy to sit here and say, oh, well, like, let's look down on her, let's judge her. And that's not really what we're supposed to do. But we are supposed to take her story and say, this is not the kind of woman that I want to be, right? We don't want to be money hungry to where we are driven by money and what money can do for us, because that money one day is going to be no good. We're in the end times, the last days, right? Where our money is not going to be worth anything. So people are living for money, 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 money. And it's like, the economy could crash just like that. And what are you going to do? Your money is going to be no good. You can have hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank. It's not going to do you a lick of good. Right? So clearly we saw that, like, we were in a recession, like prices are skyrocketing, banks are getting hacked, like all this stuff is going on. They're trying to push us over into digital currency. Once you go digital, they can shut your money off just like that. Especially with somebody like me that goes against the agendas, right? So it's like your money at some point is going to be no good. So it's not, there's no, and I'm not saying like just throw it all to the wind and you just live however you want to. But of course you want to be smart, but you cannot be driven by money. Delilah was driven by money to the point that she destroyed a man and hundreds of thousands of her people in the process. So money is the root of evil. Yes, you need money, but at the end of the day, money is not everything. There's a lot of people that are on their deathbed that are millionaires, and their money cannot buy them a new kidney, it cannot buy them a new lung, it cannot buy them health. So yes, you want to use your money, you want to be smart, you want to invest, you want to save, you want to, get on a budget and all these things, but you cannot let money be your motivation, okay? Persistence is important. You want to be persistent. Like, I'm very persistent in my goals, what I want to accomplish. I am persistent with that. But I do not let my persistence overtake me to the point where I am now nagging the people that I need to get me where I want to be. Okay, so it's important to be persistent, but you have to have balance. Okay, you do not want to be a nagger, ladies. Stop nagging your man. He does not need to go to work and have the weight of the world on his shoulders to come home to you, where you are supposed to be his peace. He doesn't want to come home and have to deal with you constantly on his back about what he did or didn't do. So I'm not saying don't have, certain conversations and things. You can have those conversations, but there's a time and there's a place and there's a way to have those conversations so that you're not coming across as a nagger, okay? For me, myself, I do not want somebody constantly on my back about anything. Like, if you tell me something, okay, I got that. Don't keep reminding me about it. Don't keep asking me about it. Don't keep talking to me about it. You told me one time, I got it, right? So you want to be, as a godly woman, you don't want to be a nagger. You want to be your man's peace. The Proverbs 31 woman was her husband's peace. When you create a peaceful home and a peaceful environment, and you are able to talk in a way that is not nagging, then you can get what you want. But if you're constantly, like, from the moment he walks in the door, on his case about X, Y, and Z, you're not going to get what it is that you want. So as a woman, we have the power of persuasion, okay? And I'm not saying use your body or anything, but we have that gift to where we can use our bodies to get what we want. But that's not God's way. So Delilah and Samson and Delilah, Samson was not living a fornication-free lifestyle, okay? He was having sex with prostitutes. He was having sex with Delilah. You know what I'm saying? And sex clouds judgment, okay? So as a woman, there's women out here that use their body to get what they want, right? And that's the motto of the streets. Use your body, get what you want. I'm trying to think what movie that was. Was it Players Club? I think it was a Players Club. It's just like, you gotta make the money, let the money make you. But basically, you use your body to make the money, right? So a lot of women have that motto: I'm gonna use my body to get what I want. Now, I don't necessarily agree. That's why I'm saying, like, as a woman, we have the power to build, we have the power to destroy. Men have gone to war for women, okay? Troy from the Odyssey, they say it's a, what y'all those, folktale, fable, one of them, right? Where it might have happened, might not have happened. But anyway, we know that men would go to war for a woman, okay? So we do have the power to get what we want, but we have to use our power in a godly way. God did not give us our bodies and our beautiful faces and all this stuff to be used for evil. He gave it to us to be used for good. Samson and Delilah could have been an amazing power couple for the kingdom of God, had he been able to convince her and convert her to come over to God's side. But that's not how that worked out, okay? And then when people are trusting you, especially if you're in a relationship, you do not want to betray the trust of your partner. I know for me, I'm the kind of person, once I no longer trust you, there is no us. So when a man is trusting you, you don't want to take that and go behind his back, because then he's never going to trust you again. And what's the point of being with somebody if you don't trust them? So she had the trust of Samson. Samson trusted her, right? And she violated that trust. So as a godly woman, when somebody trusts us, we are to treasure that, we are to honor that, we are to protect that at all costs, right? I mean, unless the life is on the line. If the life is not on the line, then no, I'm not going to tell you what somebody's telling me, right? Especially if they're telling me that in confidence. Now, it's one thing if they're like, oh, I'm telling you this, but, I don't care if you tell other people or whatever. But if somebody is coming to me and they're talking to me in confidence, no, I'm not going to go behind their back and tell their business. because they're trusting me with their secrets. They're trusting me with the core of who they are. Samson was trusting Delilah with the core of who he is, or who he was. And she took that trust, she violated that trust for money, and then sold it, and he was destroyed. So I hope you guys got something from this. I try not to go, over too much time. But hopefully y'all got something out of this. Like I said, make sure you're subscribed to my channel. Make sure you click the bell so you're notified. Check the description box, because that's where I put a lot of things that I have going on. Like y'all see this gorgeous bracelet I got on right here, right? And this ring, this earrings, y'all. So I do have a Jesus a Coffee Jewels jewelry line. All of that is going to be in the description box below for you guys. But make sure you check out the description box, because sometimes I put like scriptures in there. I might have like other videos for other people that I listen to in there as well. My podcast, make sure you have downloaded Let's Talk Jesus a Coffee Conversations. That is available wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you are following me on Instagram, JesusCoffee_conversations. Facebook, The Real Jesus a Coffee Conversations. And the word real is all uppercase, REAL. I think that's everything. Of course, for those that don't know, I am a published author, so I have my books, all that stuff in the description box for you guys. So make sure you check that out so you can get all the links and things, so that you can follow me on other platforms, and you can get other stuff that I have going on as well. Okay, so yeah, that's the end of this video. Thank you for bearing with me. Y'all, I'm getting congested, so I'm gonna go ahead and shut this off. All right, God bless. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.